afternoon, good morning, good evening, good day to you everywhere, wherever you are. I hope you're having a wonderful day. My name is Moji Taiwo, and I'm the host of the Immigrant Experience Show. The Immigrant Experience Show is a follow-up to my book, I Give Because I'm Blessed Because I Give, a chronicle of an immigrant's journey. On today's episode of the Immigrant Experience Show, we are honored to have a very special guest by the name of Anne-Marie Pham. Anne-Marie is the Executive Director of the Canadian Centre for Diversity and Inclusion, former member Board of Directors of Canadian Race Relations Foundation. She was a community development and engagement consultant and former manager, diversity and employment equity at Spectra Energy, national coordinator and regional officer on racism-free workplace strategy for Human Resources and Skills Development Canada. Anne-Marie is a former HR advisor for diversity and inclusion for the city of Calgary, and of course, a co-founder of and board director of Technias System, Inc. Anne-Marie is also a former ED of Ethnocultural Council of Calgary. Oh, that's Action Dignity.
That's right.
Yes. And last but not the least, Anne-Marie was a performance measurement specialist with Parks Canada Western Region. So before we carry on with you, Anne-Marie, because there's a lot that we're going to uncover by having a discussion with you today, I would like to acknowledge some of our supporters, our sponsors so far. We have Dixon Hussein, who runs a security company here in Calgary. We have Mr. Austin Amabude, and a host of other people that are supporting us. So please, if you want to learn more and have this program progress beyond what it is, please enroll, become a member, and support us. Share, like our videos, and subscribe. So, Anne-Marie, before we talk to you, I have a habit of sharing stats on Canadian stats. So today, I would like to share that according to Statistics Canada report of 2021, nearly 3 in 4 Canadians, that is 73.7%, lived in one of Canada's largest urban centers, and that is up from 73.2 5 years earlier. So, welcome, Anne-Marie.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me today.
Yes. You know, on Immigrant Experience, what we like to do is showcase our journey. And we all come to Canada through different means, different routes. So today we want to focus. We want to highlight your journey, how it started, and where you are today. And, you know, we just want to have a conversation with you, and hopefully at the end, we're all going to be uplifted and inspired and empowered. So I understand that you were born in Vietnam.
Yes, that's right. I was born in Vietnam. I am the 4th of 5 children, and we were all born in Saigon, Vietnam. In 1973, my father got a post as Deputy Ambassador to Paris, France, and so the whole family, mom and dad, all 5 children, my aunt and my grandma, we all moved to France for 5 years. And the plan was for us just to experience, life there while my father was working. And it was
How old were
time.
you? How old were you at that time?
I was just 3 years old.
Oh.
And so while it was supposed to be a 5-year post, in the middle of it, the fall of Saigon happened. And South Vietnam was lost to the North Vietnamese. And so we became basically political refugees in France.
Oh, so you couldn't go home, but your term your parents, your father's posting in France was also coming to a close.
That's right. It was coming to a close because we're not with the new government. As a result of that, like many immigrants in a foreign land, my parents had to think about what to do to survive. And so they opened a restaurant about an hour from Paris in Fontainebleau, a beautiful town that a lot of people visit for tourism. And this is where I grew up for 10 more years.
So you're bilingual.
I am bilingual, je peux parler français. And in fact, I often say English is my third language and Canada is my third country in my third continent.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So you were born in Vietnam, you grew up, well, semi-grew up in France, and you fully grew up in Canada.
Yes.
So you speak Vietnamese, French, and English.
That's right. And like the story of so many immigrants, we come to Canada with a lot of lived experiences, living and experiencing in its fullest form different cultures, different languages, different traditions, norms, and values. When I came to Canada, I was 15 years old, and so I started in grade 10. And I came straight to Calgary. And what I can tell you is, even though I had already learned English for 4 years before coming to Canada, and my parents tried very hard to set up for success by also taking private English lessons and all of that, the experience as a newcomer, as a young person coming to Calgary was not always perfect.
Well, I can imagine, because as a teenager, that is the age where young people are trying to fit in, trying to blend in, trying to fit in, trying to find their footing is very, very important at that age. So tell us how you manage it.
Yes. Well, as my parents were busy trying to, make a living in Canada, it was really up to us siblings to look out for each other.
And there are 5 of you.
There were 5 of us, and I was number 4. And the challenge we had was that the Canadian school system did not fully understand the French school system. And so while I was a decent student in France, they ended up putting me in grade courses that were below my capacity. English 13 instead of English 10, Math 13 instead of Math 10. And that really gave me a direct experience on some of the systemic issues that young people face in a school system. The other thing too that I experienced is that not everyone was automatically wanting to be my friend. I think, even though all of my friends were French and Caucasian back in France, I assumed I would have a seamless transition, but it wasn't the case. I was seen as an Asian immigrant. They did not see my background, my experience growing up in France, or the fact that I knew English.
So all they saw was an Asian person, an Asian child in the school.
Child.
And most people, sadly, would not have taken the time to get to know the person.
That's right. And this is where I learned about bias and stereotypes and labeling. The people who wanted to be my friends automatically were immigrant youth.
Because
we had that experience in common.
Yes.
And we can relate to each other automatically without even saying a word. And I think that this is what really, shine a light for me every day. I look at people's experiences and I know that there are so many layers of who they are, their authenticity, that sometimes doesn't come to the surface automatically. And so I try not to judge people. I try not to make assumptions. And I still do like every other human. We make mistakes all the time.
That's right. And it doesn't matter what color we are.
Yeah. Not what color, what age, what religion, what visible or invisible disability we have. And I think that this is where, my passion comes from.
Okay.
When you described my previous work experiences or, the passion that I have with regards to building community, I co-founded the Calgary Vietnamese Youth Association 20 years ago when I was pregnant with my son.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about that. Tell us
So
about.
the reason why I did that was because of my direct experience. And I said to myself, I want young people to actually know that there is a network out there
For them.
to support them, so that if they encounter any difficulties personally, socially, academically, in the family, the cultural gaps, the generation gap, the linguistic
Gaps.
all of the gaps,
Yes, yes.
that there is a place for them to go to.
You know, you just took this interview in a different direction. So I would like to say to those of us who are immigrant parents with children or teenagers, most often parents have struggles, right? That they're trying to put food on the table and they're working so many jobs and they're facing these challenges that you've identified earlier on, but forgetting that the children have their own struggles too.
Yes. The struggle of finding who they are, the sense of identity. And we often talk about, you can only be truly happy if you know
Who you are, yes.
And who you are is understanding where you come
From,
who you are today, and who you want
to
to
be
in the future.
tomorrow, yes,
And the
yes.
kind of impact that you want to create in this world. And I know it sounds big and grand and blue sky, but at the end of the day, I truly believe that everyone has a role to play in this world.
Yes.
It could be small in the eyes of others, but meaningful to yourself. As long as you are happy and you feel that you are not just happy for yourself, but you're contributing to the wellness of others, then I think you will truly find your calling.
And it is important for parents, even amongst our struggles, while we're facing our own challenges, it is important for us to pay attention to those youth, young people, and help them find out who they are and who they want to become.
Absolutely.
Because the struggles at home, in the community, at school, you've mentioned that.
Yes, the struggle of fitting in, the struggle of being understood and not being mislabeled and judged before you had an opportunity to demonstrate your true nature and your true character.
Yes.
And the ability to be given a chance to have your voice amplified. And I think for those of us, Moji, you have this show, you have other avenues, you wrote a book. I have multiple platforms at work at the Canadian Centre for Diversity and Inclusion, where I work with so many employers across Canada, or with the Vietnamese community, where I work with a lot of different organizations, or with various Asian professional and community networks, where I can work with members of the Chinese, Japanese, Korean communities, for example. I know that I am blessed. I know that I have privileges. And as a result, I want to be able to use those platforms
To bless other people.
to bless other people, to amplify their stories and their voices, very much like what you're doing right now, in fact.
Yes.
And so I believe that, in whatever position I am in, I am a convener. I am an enabler. I don't have all the answers. In fact, a lot of the answers are in the stories of other people. And I think this is where, in this world which is increasingly polarized, where there's a lot of misunderstanding, misinformation.
Especially when you disagree or have a different opinion, that is not welcome anymore. Where we grew up or from our experiences, we have had to adjust and accept something that's different from ours in order to better ourselves. And that's why we are able to sit where we're sitting today and sharing, basically. So having a different opinion doesn't have to turn a person to being an enemy of the other person. But in these days, as you were saying, everything is so polarized.
Everything is so polarized, and I think if we can make a dent in bringing people closer together, it doesn't have to mean that we have to agree everything that the other person is saying, but I think we have to really deeply evaluate the way we treat each other.
Yes.
And the way that we evaluate information. Critical analysis of information is so important. And not just from a research or fact-based perspective, but also from a human perspective.
Yeah, humanity.
Humanity needs to come
yes.
back into the picture, so that we're not treating each other with disrespect, we're not calling each other's names, and we are trying to find their truth, their lived experiences, to shine light into our own blind spots and the unconscious biases that we may have.
That's right.
And I truly believe that, if we're willing to lean into the uncomfortable a little bit, learning to be more comfortable with the uncomfortable, then we can be more successful in living and working in this country that we call Canada. Which is supposed to be multicultural, which is supposed to be diverse. It's going to be increasingly diverse.
Yes.
And what are we doing about it?
Yes.
So each and every one of us, it doesn't matter if you are working in the front lines, if you are in the office, if you are in a senior leadership position, if you are a volunteer, a student.
We all have a part to play.
We all have a part to play. We have a role to play. And I think if we keep a positive mindset, if we really think about each of our story, we have something that we can contribute.
Yes.
And that's as simple as that.
It is. So, Anne-Marie, I want you to tell me more about in our conversation, you did mention May being Asian Heritage Month. Can you tell us a little bit more about Asian Heritage Month?
Absolutely. Asian Heritage Month is one of the celebrate months in Canada. And we want to highlight the history and the contributions and the significance of Asian communities across Canada. And so I've been part of Asian Heritage Month for many years in Calgary. As a member of, the Ethnocultural Council of Calgary, the Asian Heritage Foundation, the Calgary Vietnamese Youth Association, the Asian Professional Network of Calgary. Through so many groups, we have been involved in organizing events and activities to celebrate Asian heritage.
Which dates is it in May?
It's
the whole month?
The month.
Okay,
and
good,
so
good.
If you want to check out in several weeks, I think the program will be coming out.
Okay.
Asian Heritage Foundation of Calgary provides a lot of information about events that will be organized by various Asian communities throughout Calgary. And we always encourage non-Asian people to
attend.
Because
Yes.
it's the opportunity to learn about other people's cultures.
And that's the richness of the multiculturalism in Canada, in Calgary, Alberta. So we share our foods, we share our cultures, and it also fosters better understanding of each other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm at work at CCDI. Asian Heritage Month is also the month where we organize webinars and conversations with employers around the importance of creating inclusive workplaces and address anti-Asian racism. And so organizations are welcome to take part in these events to really raise awareness amongst themselves and their colleagues on what they can do to support their Asian colleagues, their Asian clients, their Asian customers.
Excellent, excellent. This is the essence of the Immigrant Experience Show. It's to not only highlight where we came from, where we've been, and where we're going, and how where we're paving ways for other people who might just be new immigrants, who might be struggling a little bit because, they're adjusting or in the adjusting process, or people like us who have come, have seen, have sown, and, now ready to share. So thank you, Anne-Marie. Is there anything else you think we need to know, or any specific message you want to pass on to our viewer?
You know, as I think about my work with many young people, I think we need to start early in our work. And for every organization, every community groups to consider, what can I do to create and foster an inclusive environment for young people? To give them a voice and to really openly, genuinely listen to their concerns so that we can create opportunities for them to be meaningfully engaged in our organization, and create the change that will lead to more inclusion for young people. So I just really encourage us to be a little bit like a gardener, you know, to take care of our environment, to provide the water and the
good nutrient, the nurture.
The nurture,
Sure, yes.
so that our young
Infuse
people
sunshine into
yes,
their lives, yes.
and cover them from the storm,
Yes.
so that they can blossom into what they were meant to be.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Thank you, Anne-Marie. Today, our guest was Anne-Marie Pham, and she shared her wisdom, her empowering and inspiring words with us. So before we go on, end this show, I would like to thank our sponsors, our supporters, and encourage you, the viewers, to keep sharing, to keep liking, and subscribe. And don't forget to register to be our member. My name is Moji Taiwo, the author of I Give Because I'm Blessed Because I Give, a chronicle of an immigrant's journey. We'll see you next time. Thank you.